What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Get to the Chopper's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at, was that impression trash? I feel like it was kind of trash. But anyway, we're looking today at the MMC Vortex, otherwise known as Assaultus. Just came in. So we're going to take a look at it. We're going to compare it to the Unique Toys one. As you guys know, I'm not in for this set. I'm only in for Vortex and Blast Off, and my hopes are that they are both good enough to swap out my Unique Toys ones, which I do not like, for my bot modes of the Combaticons. But we'll see how it turns out. That being said, we'll get started with accessories. So he comes with this main firearm. You can swivel this piece down here. Not a lick of paint on this thing. In a very animated-esque sculpt. In order to utilize that, you just flip the handle of it down, and then you have to move this piece down to reveal the port, and then you just plug that in. Now he holds this by tabbing that kind of large tab in the back into the palm of the hand and then wrapping the fingers around. Something we don't really see too common, if at all, but it works well. It also comes with these two side guns. We have some black paint on the barrels, and then the rest is just this kind of blue-gray plastic. And they'll plug in to both corresponding sides of the helicopter, and they'll go on his forearms in robot mode. It also comes with the propellers. These blades do extend and retract, but it's not easy. So be mindful, and then they also kind of collapse, and to utilize that, you just obviously plug it right into the top. Utilizing all the accessories will get you this armed up look. And it does look good, and it looks cartoon accurate, but it also looks like it has a little, real world element to it. It doesn't look as cartoony, so I kind of dig that. I think it works. So let's talk about the alt mode. First of all, let me say I love the color, and I love how these windows here have this like bump out feature. Like, it looks real. That looks like a realistic approach. I'm missing one on this side and this piece. Maybe they're in the box. Nope. I'm guessing they're missing anyway. I'll have to hit up them folks. Good grief. If it ain't one thing, it's bound to be another. You know what I mean? But it looks like these two pieces are missing. Or maybe they're not supposed to be there, but it looks like they're supposed to be there. That piece is there, right? Yeah, that piece. So it's just this one window that's missing. So I'll have to get that sorted. Good grief. You know what I mean? Until then, let's talk about this. So we have the landing gear, and with this piece down, it will roll just fine. It also collapses. One thing I want to note with these, and I'm cutting this in just to make sure I'm clear, these will go back all the way and forward, but it is a tight little tolerance. There's another one we're going to talk about here in a second, but they will collapse. Just use caution. There's a lot of thin plastic pieces on this thing throughout. I like the blue stripe a lot here in the front. I think it's decoed beautifully. Like I said, I love the color of the gray that they chose, and then all of the translucent windows, the blue paint and so forth. I think it works very well. Not a finish on it per se, but I think it does look good. This tail rotor here, so it will latch in, if you can see right here, and it'll free spin otherwise, and then you just make sure that those two pieces are lined up, and it'll latch in, and then that'll be secured. But then it's not really free spinning as much, but I don't think that's a big deal. And then that piece will, and also when you get it out in the packaging, there's a couple pieces that are collapsed already. I have found it was so peculiar, but when I was getting it out, right, and I have a huge stress mark on this thing already from trying to get these tail fins down. So when you can close them up together and they work fine, but when you try to do them individually, you end up putting pressure on one. So when you go to manipulate these, just use them together, fold them together, and you'll be okay. Size comparison wise, there it is with tire tracks. I think that's fine. Let's get them transformed, and we'll start by trying to collapse all these blades and then stacking them on top of one another. Then in the back here, you can collapse these two tail fins. Make sure that these pieces are separated as well, which couldn't get them attached, and now I can't get them apart, right? Story of my life. All right, there we go. And then you can kind of make sure that they're aligned as well. You can split your tail, fold them around on themselves. This piece will fold back once again. This piece will as well but then you can also swivel it down to make sure it collapses as tight as can be. And this is also how it comes in packaging. The next thing we need to do is get this top piece up, and if you just loosen up some of this, you should be able to get it. Make sure that you keep your blades here off center so that it doesn't cause any sort of issue. And then underneath, open up these panels here. Good grief. Once again, a little tighter than I would hope. Get them out to the side. Lift these pieces off as well on the top. And then you want to be able to bring this whole piece down so that you have access to the hand. At this point, you can split here, turn the fist around on both sides, and extend the fingers and the thumb. Then you can reconnect all of this and bring the fist back up. On this side, you want to make sure that your top of your cockpit here tabs back in to the windshield. And then on the underside, just put it back the way it initially was, and these two pieces had to basically alligator in so that that's all clean. Now we have to get our landing gear up and fold this piece out. Landing gear in. And then for our top piece, just make sure that the roof of it, for lack of a better term, is all lined up, tabbed in properly. And then bring this down, and these two will clip in to there and there, hopefully. And it's going to take some finagling, and I'll get it. But I'll get it cleaned up. We'll take a look at it. But you just got to make sure that that latches, and it hasn't yet for me. But I don't want to waste too much time doing it. I'm sure that you can manage to do it on your own. And actually, I all but had it. But it's a great range of motion, you know, articulation-wise for this thing. Like, you're going to have a bicep swivel. You're going to have a double-jointed elbow. Well, I guess, yeah, it's a double-jointed elbow this way, and it's almost quadruple out to the side that way. Yeah, and then you're going to have the hand, and I guess this is going to, so this is going to be like, well, whatever. You have the hand, the thumb is going to be, the hand is all individually, all the fingers and stuff are all pinned and tensioned properly. I'll show some images of this kind of oriented correctly at the end, but yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. I don't have any real major issue with this, you know, in and of itself. So let's get it into robot mode. You want to first open this top piece up here, so you got to get it unlatched from those. And actually, when I put it down initially, I pretty much grabbed it. I grabbed all of one and pretty much half of the other, so it actually didn't take much work at all. Flap this little piece down here, this little gray piece, and then, well, I guess go ahead and lift this up, put that in, and then put that back down. Make sure your hand is lined up. Split the connection between the two, and then you're gonna curl up this hand. You can open this up here as well, because we got to turn this around and get it to go back in. And actually, you can lift up this piece, get all this stuff out of your way. It'll help. And we'll do the same on this side. Let's lift up this stuff, get it out of the way. Turn this around, open up. Get your thumb all closed up here. What am I doing wrong? Oh, there. There. Sorry about that. It just ate me up a bit. All right, close this back up, and then close the bottom panel. That'll tab back into here. Take the top panel around and around. Right round, baby, right round. Once again, back panel to the back. This one around and around, and all this stuff will tab in. Take your hips and kind of open up all these skirts, which will allow you to get your hips kind of out in a more, you know, less awkward state. And then you can plug them all back in and flip down your feet. Then take these pieces, they'll split apart, they become your arms. A little bit of a tight tolerance there. You can bring them down and then just orient them until they start to make sense. So you can see the elbow joint. Obviously, you've got to flip this around, and you also have to open this up so that you can spin the fist out and then close this back up. And same for this side. We'll spin this around. Oh, I guess we're going to do this one from the outside. And then close this back up and then split and bring this around so that you have them kind of oriented properly. And now we have to compact these pieces. So just get them out so that you can work with them a taste. And you see the swivel here? So you want to spin those around, and you can see how they're ready to come out. I've been noticing that more and more recently. What did we just see that on? Oh, it was the Gigapowers, which I don't know if what order I'm putting this out in. So make sure that those are spun 180. This will all be collapsed, and then you can fold this around so that's nice and tight. And then you're pretty much doing it with this side as well. Take this 180, this one 180. That one came out as well. Then fold this piece back and then this piece towards you, and they'll both be sitting tight. Now we have to get both of these pieces inside of this chest cavity. And in order to do so, you need to spin them towards the back. And we have to get, which gets a little tricky, we have to get this piece around, like the middle piece here, if you can see, like that one I got down, and just keep messing with the angle. Like I got this propeller stuck up in there. And then once you have them together, then they'll tuck up in to the chest. And that is quite nice. It's a nice little rewarding and intuitive fit, and look how clean it is. Like, that's really sharp and really smart engineering. And then the last thing, well, second to last, I guess, is to bring this piece down. That'll sit right behind that notch. Bring this piece and accordion it up, and then, where is it? These two tabs here plug into those two ports, if we did it all right. There. And then just take the head and swivel. It's at a ball peg that just came popped out. You can just swivel it around till it goes to the back, and then you have the head forward. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. All right, let's talk about the figure. And I still don't have the backpack 100% right. I can get it pretty much to line one up, but I don't have the time to fiddle with it a whole lot right now. So we're just gonna go through the review, and I haven't seen anywhere, like, I think it still looks pretty clean, so I wouldn't even gig it for that, you know? So I haven't seen anything that it disrupts. I have just messed with it and taken some pictures and everything else. So I haven't seen anything that is going to disrupt or kind of give a false impression of. I just want to be upfront about it, that it's not 100% in there. I can only kind of get one side lined up, and it's probably the way I have my propellers, but I can't be 100% sure. So the head, we do have paint on the eyes and on the mouth. It's not metallic on the eye, so it doesn't pop as well, but I'll probably paint that myself. The mouth paint is like a gloss, and it does look good on the mouth plate. I don't like this connection, this ball peg. It keeps coming out on mine because I find that when I want to manipulate just the ball peg that's in the head, I end up manipulating the ball peg that's in the neck. Good range up though, good range down, and then the swivel, but something about it does look incomplete to me a little bit, just being fair. And let me say, I like this guy. I like this guy a fair bit, but I have to be critical because there's a lot to be critical of here. And that is where I would start. I don't like that at all. It's just not good. It's not well done. So that's a bummer. Okay, moving on. We have a waist swivel. That works well. We have an ab crunch to an insane degree. That works well. The shoulders, universals, tensioned, get out 90 degrees, swivel around. No issues there unless you bump up against the propellers, so nothing to worry about. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, I think. Yes. And it's a tight little connection though. The fingers are on a base pen knuckle. They are individually articulated, but they have typewriter fingers, so there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do with them anyway. The thumb is on a ball peg. Same for this side. The hip skirts will get up and out of your way to reveal this weird universal that they have down here. So they do this in order to collapse it for the modes. It doesn't work well because it doesn't like lock in place. So it's constantly, as you're manipulating it, coming out of sorts. So I don't like that at all. Using the lower hinge of the universal, which kind of throws off the proportions of it, you do get the full Van Damme. And then using the swivel element, which is a ratchet, you get almost the full Monty, but more than you would ever need for posing and such. The paint looks good. I'm not crazy about that. It's not perfected, and I'm sure it's new to them because I've never seen them do this before. This type, I don't know if I've seen anybody do it before, maybe for good reason, but they don't have it down pat yet. All right, thigh swivel. It's an awkward cut, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's effective. It's just very strange. And then we have our knee on a single hinge, and then you can get another hinge forward if you want. Actually, I wonder. No, there's no way to swivel the bottom part. So, yeah, you're pretty... Well, there you go. It's kind of a double joint. You get this one little thing here. It doesn't help much in range. Let me lower it a bit. But it's there, so let's give them credit. Credit where credit is due, and we'll connect that again. I'll save it for final part. Dude, I almost said final farts. I'm tired, man. It's my kid's birthday weekend, so we've been doing a lot of planning and prepping and having kids sleep over and all that kind of stuff. So I apologize if this one's out of sorts. But no ankle tilt down. You get a toe tilt up, but you do get an ankle rocker. This whole piece kind of moves out a bit, which is nice. You know, it's cool that it's there, but it's still fairly limited because I guess the fist. But it's cool that it's there, and I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be there, honestly. Like, just given the look and the design, I wouldn't have thought that joint would have been in here and it would have split all the way through and allowed for it. So some credit needs to be given for that. And then I guess you get a toe tilt up and down if you so desire. And that's pretty much this guy in a nutshell. There he is from the back. Kind of fine, I think. You know, not a big deal. Like, not great, but not bad. You know, and there's some great stuff about him. I can't wait to get to the final thoughts because I got a lot to say. But until then, let's do some size comparisons and definitely show them with the unique toys. So there it is with Make Toys Starscream, and I'm good with that scale. And then there it is with an MP car. So either way, it works for me. But you know, I always say scale is definitely in the eye of the beholder when it comes to this stuff. There's the unique toys, Combaticons, and you know, for those that are new to my channel or familiar with it, just reiterate real quick, I was never happy with the two arm bots from this set. I'm okay with the other three. I actually really like the Brawl and the Swindle. The Onslaught is kind of fine, and then the other two I was never happy with. So I'm just gonna swap it out. Let's see how we feel. Like, I think that's an improvement, and it doesn't bother me. I still feel like it looks like it's part of the same set. So I might luck out here. I'm not 100% sure, but I might luck out here. I'm gonna get the blast off as well and see if I can live with it. But let's do some swaps real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2. What do you guys think? Is that jarring? I feel like it kind of works, but maybe I might be trying to validate my purchase. I'm willing to accept that as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. Honest opinions. What do you think? Can I get away with it? Does it stand out? Does it like you're just walking by? Does it look cohesive? I feel like it kind of works. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. There are a lot of thin pieces of plastic on this thing, and there are some really tight tolerances. And the problem is when you have those two ingredients, more than likely when you go to make your recipe come to life, it ends in broken things. For instance, if you go back and you look at the size comparisons, you'll see that part of his arm blaster, which was probably in my whole review, was stuck in this forearm. That's because of a tolerance issue, of which there are many. The other thing I've got to gig him for is the paint. There's not a lot of it, and this is supposed to be a masterpiece. And as a result, it ends up looking basic. Now you add that on top of the sculpt issues with all the breaks and panels and everything everywhere, and it starts to look less than what it actually is. And I say that because it actually has some really nice things going for it. It's clean. The engineering is very enjoyable, with the exception of that backpack part trying to hide it and everything. But even that isn't the biggest pain. It just probably requires more patience, time, and energy than I have at the moment. Everything else moves smoothly. A buddy of mine once said, it was Robert, he once said that MMC's engineering is like diet Takara. I do agree with that. They really know how to engineer a figure. It's always smooth. I can't help but think that if they didn't do all 3 modes in one with no parts forming, that it'd probably create a better thing in all 3 modes. However, at the same time, it has to be given to them that it's impressive that they were able to do it all. And not only that, but the fact that they were able to do it probably satisfies an entire group of fans that love that sort of thing. So I don't think it's fair to necessarily criticize it. It's just sort of serving a particular aspect of the fandom. The articulation is stellar, the materials feel great, and for what it does, it cleans up fairly well as well. And with all of those things going for it, I can recommend it. However, just know that in my opinion, not to say that that should mean anything to you, it doesn't quite feel like a masterpiece to me. It feels like a nice action figure, a cool action figure with some really cool stuff going for it, but not quite a masterpiece. And also those hips are wonky. But I do enjoy it, and I like it actually, to be honest, more than I thought I was going to. When this hit my in-stock email, like when it hit, like the notice got here that it was in stock and ready to ship, I was kind of like, ugh, like I gotta pay for this thing. But once I got it in hand and messed with it a bit and, you know, been posing it and taking pictures and such, I really do enjoy it. I'm just not sure it's up to the kind of general standard of masterpiece that a lot of figures are these days. However, it might be up to the majority of combiners that we're getting. You know, I think that it definitely holds its own with the better of the Unique Toys ones, but I'm not sure it feels as masterpiece to me as the X-Transbots, the DX9, or the Fans toys. But it also does some things that they don't, so it's like it's really a mixed bag. But I can say if you're okay with all of the things that I have pointed out, you will enjoy it. You will appreciate it, because it does have a lot to offer. It's just not on the surface. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.